first glance, it's almost pretty, like when they dye the Chicago River green for St. Patrick's Day. But there are very different reasons why the Sava River in the Serbian capital looks this way, and none of them are nearly as festive. Two of the big factors here are heat and a lack of rain. The editor of a Serbian fishing magazine says this summer, Belgrade's seen more days with temperatures in the high 80s than it's ever recorded. And while he adds there's not a lot of agricultural runoff or chemicals seeping into the water, there is a lot of untreated sewage water. That's adding nutrients that feed the algae, and that's causing the thick layer of green on the river. So what has to happen for this to clear up? Fresh rain could help wash it all away. Fall temperatures could inhibit the algae growth. But if heat waves continue for the time being, the Sava River could stay green for days to come. Hi, I'm Azuz. It's great to have you watching the world from A to Z. Yesterday, we covered accusations that China was trying to heat up political anger between Americans ahead of the upcoming U.S. election. Today, the U.S. government's accusing Russia of doing something similar. This involves a Russian news network named RT, which used to stand for Russia Today. It's paid for by the Russian government, and the U.S. State Department says RT employees created a number of videos designed to, quote, amplify domestic divisions in America and also hide the fact that those videos came from Russia. Why? U.S. officials say Russia wants to improve its image in America and to reduce support for Ukraine, which is at war with Russia. Like the alleged Chinese efforts, the Russian videos don't all side with Republicans or Democrats. This is reportedly about deepening American divisions and weakening the democratic process. And like China, Russia denies trying to influence U.S. politics. RT employees made fun of the U.S. charges, saying American officials' only strategy was to, quote, scaremonger about the almighty RT. Regardless of how these charges play out, the U.S. says there are a growing number of foreign efforts to mess with U.S. elections. On this date in world history. On September 5th, 1972, tragedy struck at the Summer Olympics in Munich, West Germany. 8 members of a Palestinian militant group named Black September launched a terrorist attack against the Israeli team. 2 members of that team were killed at the beginning. 9 other Israelis were taken hostage while the terrorists demanded the release of more than 200 Palestinian prisoners in Israel. All of the hostages, along with 5 of the 8 militants, were killed after West German police launched a failed rescue attempt. 3 of the terrorists were captured. The games continued controversially after a day-long suspension, and the tragedy led to significant changes in Olympic security. On this date in 1977, NASA launched an unmanned spacecraft named Voyager 1. It's traveled farther from Earth than any other man-made object. NASA says it's well beyond the orbit of Pluto, and it continues to send back info from its decades-long dive into deep space.
NASA on Wednesday detailing the plan to bring the beleaguered Boeing Starliner space capsule back to Earth without its 2-person crew.
Today, the Boeing team powered on Starliner systems and performed a variety of pre-undock activities, both on the systems and crew activities to get the capsule ready to come home.
Just after 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, Starliner is scheduled to undock from the International Space Station, leaving astronauts Butch Wilmore and Sonny Williams in space as the capsule tracks for an early Saturday arrival.
This will dip Starliner's orbit into our atmosphere and will allow it to land at White Sands, New Mexico, just after midnight Eastern.
The Starliner carried Williams and Wilmore to the International Space Station on June 5th. The plan was for the 2 astronauts to return home in about a week, but the Starliner suffered setbacks with helium leaks and 5 of its 28 thrusters stopped working. After extensive discussion, NASA ultimately decided to bring Starliner back to Earth without the crew on board, but expressed confidence Wednesday that the capsule itself can land.
We have requirements for protecting the public as well, and so, we have confidence.
The astronauts will fly home with the crew of a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule that was already slated to make an ISS routine mission. Their return expected early next year.
The Old Line State, the Bay State, and the Natural State star in today's World of Viewers segment. We'll start in Glenelg, Maryland, because that's where the gladiators are in Mr. Hatmaker's and Mrs. Chenna's classes at Glenelg High School. We heard from Mr. Bolio's class. They're watching from Charlton Middle School, home of the Grizzlies in Charlton, Massachusetts. And you don't often hear about Airedales in schools. Coach Powell says Alma High School is the only one in the country with that mascot. These dogs are barking in Alma, Arkansas.
Word and knowledge. What is the world's most widely consumed psychoactive drug? Alcohol, caffeine, nicotine, aspirin. While aspirin is widely consumed, it's classified as an NSAID and an anti-inflammatory drug. The most commonly consumed psychoactive drug is caffeine.
You can find it in chocolate, soda, tea, and coffee. Caffeine has become a part of life for many. In fact, it's consumed daily by about 80% of adults worldwide.
Caffeine certainly gives you that feeling of alertness. It reduces your feeling of fatigue or tiredness.
Dietitian Julia Zumpano with Cleveland Clinic says it works by blocking adenosine receptors in your brain. Those receptors slow down nerve activity, which make us feel tired. That helps explain the afternoon crash some may feel when the effects of their morning coffee wear off.
It's important to understand your threshold, how you react to caffeine, how much you're having, how you're dosing it throughout the day.
For most people, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration says moderate caffeine consumption can be part of a healthy diet, but overuse can lead to side effects like insomnia, jitters, anxiousness, fast heart rate, upset stomach, nausea, headache, and a feeling of unhappiness.
Cleveland Clinic also says kids under 12 shouldn't have any caffeine, though many get it from soda, and that teenagers should be aware and careful with the caffeine they consume. Another well-documented side effect of the drug is increased anxiety, though, as all of us know, many other things can cause that. Testing, working, relationships, sports, stories in the news. Some schools are trying out new programs to help students address anxiety.
Hi, welcome. If you could please take off your shoes.
No shoes, no phones, and no desks.
My name is Myra Villa, and I'm one of the psychiatric social workers of the school. And basically my job here is crisis intervention. Breathe in, hold it, breathe out.
Here, high schoolers also learn to identify anxiety and depression and what to do about it in a judgment-free space. This as teens nationwide continue to struggle with their mental health in the wake of the pandemic. According to the CDC's latest Youth Risk Behavior Survey, 40% of high school students surveyed report feeling persistently sad or hopeless in 2023. That's down slightly from 42% in 2021, but still about 10 percentage points higher than it was in 2013. For teen girls, the issue is even more pronounced. 53% say they felt persistently sad or hopeless, compared to 28% of boys. To support students, the Los Angeles Unified School District has brought in more than 800 mental health professionals to work with its roughly 430,000 students.
We never learn how to just take a moment to, think about things, meditate, things that could help us to just take a pause.
That skill, students say, is already helping them cope with the stresses of academic performance.
I never really get the chance at school to fully relax myself, and I think this is a perfect place to kind of do it.
Julia Vargas Jones, Los Angeles.
A great Gator Grab's gonna get us home today. It was at someone's home in Texas that an uninvited visitor curled up near the front door. And despite its snapping and hissing, Police Lieutenant Bill Henry needed nothing more than his bare hands to take it on. The coolest part of this story is that this reportedly wasn't even his first grab of the day. He had used his hands earlier to remove another rascally reptile from someone's backyard. We don't know if he got a bonus, but we'd suggest a new wallet or pair of boots. Now you can tell I'm kidding. There are Gator things to be than a Gator hater, and following the Gator aid, we're sure the instigator was relocated to waiter and plater in a far greater Gator habitator. I'm Carl Azuz for The World from A to Z, and we'll see you later.